Good morning. Happy Thursday, everyone. I hope you're having a good Thursday so far. Today is our forest therapy talk where I get to be joined by my friend and incredibly talented woman, Madison Travis, and she is going to be joining us pretty quickly. I wanted to hop on first and foremost and just wish everyone a good week so far. I feel like Thursdays are always my favorite day of the week because it's not quite the weekend and I still feel like I'm, being productive, but it's also the start of the weekend. So I am going to be talking with Madison and I'm going to have her join here. Let's see. I'm going to grab her to join. And Madison is a certified forest therapy guide, and so she is really going to walk us through what is forest therapy in a very broad context, but then also how you can implement that whenever you're not in a natural place and more of an urban environment. She's wait to have her come on any minute now. I see she's joined. I got my setup today. Oh, there she is. And look at your setup.
Hey, how are
Hi,
you?
Madison. Good
The
setup there. And the outdoor, beautiful. Can
yeah,
you hear us?
the benefit and downside of this today is going to be connection. So, I apologize for my for my service if that's okay.
Great, because honestly, the connection technology-wise might not be great, but the connection human to human is going to be wonderful.
Yes, let's make up for
So,
it.
exactly. So tell me a little bit about where you are right now.
Yeah, so I'm in Boulder, Wyoming. So I full on fire season here, and so I'm looking, and it's a little hazy, and the sun this morning was that vibrant red. So waking up with a reminder of the state of the world and where we're at, and it's beautiful today. So hopefully this rain, there's like a rain cloud, so hopefully that can clear some of the smoke away that we're seeing.
Oh, I hope so. Had
Yeah.
you been by trail before?
I'm sorry.
Have you been to the CDT before coming to Boulder, Wyoming?
No, so I actually through hiked the Pacific Crest Trail about 1,600 miles in 2019, and so I was just so drawn to this connection and these communities that are cultivated through this common trail. And so I, Heath and I were kind of looking for a place that neither of us had really experienced, and we'd had some curiosity about doing the CDT in sections. And so we were placed in Pinedale, Wyoming, and it's been really lovely so far. It's been refreshing to slow down and connect with people in the community and nonprofits and the small businesses and everything. So it's treated us really well thus far.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. And you're not like camping. You guys are full on what schooly camping, isn't that what it's called?
Yeah,
Your little
you can kind of you can kind of see the little. I can pick up a little bit, but yeah. So this is we call the van our vacation home. And the bus is parked here. So we're at this RV site to kind of test out and live in the bus and see. We're kind of doing it differently. We're addressing needs as we go on the fly. So we're new to living together, so we're addressing all of those, you know, the quirks
yeah.
of living together, in addition to being on a bus. So, we can cook outside, and there's no doors to close when you're upset. So being able to see what we need individually and to coexist on the bus with our little dog Indy has been really rewarding so far.
Yeah, what a journey in itself. But I, I've given the background before to people. I know you had a little bit on our post before this talk, but Madison and I met at the very end of our senior year at University of Iowa. We went on a kayaking trip to Utah, and it was a full immersive, like 4 days worth of us really getting to know each other and kayak and camp remotely. It was awesome. And from there, our friendship has grown as we've become even more intentional, really, in the way that we're living and especially our relationship when it comes to nature. I feel like that's something you and I have really bonded with is feeling replenished by going outside. And so when you started your forest therapy guide certification and you were going through that, I was so excited to get to learn more from you and see that passion. So, can you tell us a little bit about what forest therapy actually is? And we'll start from there.
Yeah, absolutely. So to give some background, when I was on the PCT, I held, I carried, and I was mocked a little bit for.
Mm.
And so from that, I began to get really intrigued by this idea of walking meditation. And you're walking every day, and you're not always having these big epiphanies. It's just really those smaller moments and focusing on your basic needs out there. And I know a lot of thru hikers can attest. It's a little bit of a reality shock when you get back to the real world and kind of acclimating back. And I really wanted to integrate walking meditation in some way. And I was debating if I wanted to do yoga teacher training and what that looked like for me. So I found forest therapy, which seemed like, how is this so perfect? I didn't know this existed. And so forest therapy originated in Japan, and they saw this rapid urbanization and this spike in autoimmune diseases and cancers, and so they invested time and money and energy into identifying if we could prevent these diseases rather than react to them. So very ahead of its time. And so what we're seeing with like the Association of Nature and Forest Therapy, where I was certified, is this adaptation of forest therapy around the world. So there's a lot of different, there's so many different schools of thought, and so mine is just one of them. But it's really focused on this relational experience with nature, and not just extraction and what can we get, and it's good for our health, but what can we give back as well. So forest therapy is really a series of invitations to provide space for our senses to breathe and to cultivate relationships with our roots and that more than human world, and remember ourselves in the process. So it's really this like complex mutually beneficial relationship of reciprocity that we're really trying to focus on, and bringing people to slow down and to really connect with themselves in all capacities and all of their senses. So yeah, it's kind of a background.
That is absolutely beautiful. And it's so easy for us when we're in spaces that we're surrounded by nature and accessible trails or waterways. But what about people who are in urban spaces? I know you and I have talked about that a little bit together, but can you share maybe some ways that people can reconnect with nature when it's not totally available to them in an urban environment?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's been something that I'm brainstorming on a little bit of a project on the side, to address that. But bringing nature in is a really great way. There's a reason that we saw so many people adopting their house plants and integrating these green beings into our homes. And we crave that, we want that connection, and especially in a time of turbulence. And so my my advice, I've led some really beautiful walks virtually, when people are just in their bedrooms, or they're even by the windowsill, and just really, and I'll share this, a scroll with us later to take away for this weekend. But really just start with focusing on your breath and just observing the little things around you, whether it's a walk on the pavement outside, and you can see slowly walking and noticing, is there grass growing within those cracks? Is there ways are there ways that nature is reincorporating itself and intertwining back into, um, that concrete jungle that we talk about? And if there are ways that you don't see it, reaching out and having those conversations and talk about what you'd like to see. There's been some really great, movements happening from people bringing these needs to the attention of our, lawmakers. And so, we're seeing, I know an intersectional environmentalist
Yeah.
shared it the other day, but these heat maps, and being able to plant trees in areas, that the heat is noticeably higher, because there's a lack of trees. And so, just being a part of that conversation is so, so important. So, yeah.
I love that. It just reminds me of a conversation I was having the other day. Um, I had this beautiful maple tree in the backyard that someone planted. It's at least like, it's probably 65 years, 70 years old. It's massive. And in my head, I was thinking what a gift that they'll never know that they shared with me, but by planting this tree, I get to enjoy the fruits of it. I get to enjoy the shade. And so every day I'm like so grateful for the tree, but I'm also so grateful for the person who planted that and like didn't know that that gift would keep going. And so we planted a tree in our front yard, and it's teeny tiny. It's a sapling, but it's
Yeah.
one of like, I hope that in 60 years someone has this home and they just think, wow, like that tree is amazing. Thank you to whoever planted that. And
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that's such a great point, because I've had some really great conversations. How do I, and it does make an impact, and it does influence, it influences the people to follow, and the beings, not just human, that follow too. And it's a really great point to bring up.
we were talking earlier, for those that are just joining, we were talking about how, we're able, the benefits and the ability of using forest therapy for really, I mean, for your whole biome. You're talking about health, but also your spirituality, your connection to nature in this world. What are some practices that you felt like you've done through forest therapy, either guiding people or for yourself, that you've seen the most impact or just benefits?
Yeah, so I think what we call in forest therapy, and it's called a standard sequence through where I was certified, with ANFT. And that to me has been really empowering, because in a forest therapy walk, I will guide participants through that. So, there will be verbal cues, and I'll prompt them, by noticing every sense. And so, you can, there's some really great books out there that lay it out as well. Um, it's nice to be led through, by somebody, but you
Yeah.
can lead yourself and just call attention. What are you, closing your eyes. So, focusing on your breath and how that adds to the music of your surroundings. Like, how does that add to the music of this bird flying by right now, or the cows in the background, or or even cars, those are made by people, and those were derived from nature originally, right? And so everything has this common thread. And so calling attention to every sense and just walking through, and not starting with sight. And I think that's what's powerful, is leaving sight for last is really profound, because a lot of us rely a lot on that, and it
Oh,
shows because
100.
our other senses are lacking, right? And so
Yeah.
being able to call attention to every sense is important.
I remember when you were here in Arkansas and you led me through a, it was, it was probably just 10 minutes, but it felt like 30 minutes of restorative meditation in a way. And I do remember you had us do almost a 360, just like stop when your body felt like it needed to be in its place, and then you open your eyes. And I just remember laughing to myself because I was like, man, I had this beautiful surrounding, and I literally turned back where it was like a concrete wall because the wall and else was open space. And I was like, maybe my mind just needed to be blank, like that's what it was saying. But I think that's really cool, listening to your body and then sight being the last thing.
Yeah, and something that's really special about that, and honestly kind of magical. I was leading a walk last Friday here in town, and with some friends that were passing through, and um, it was really awesome, because right before our walk, she had talked about how she really wanted to see a moose. And she's like, I just really want to see a moose. She's about to start the Colorado Trail, and she'll probably see plenty, but she's like craving this connection. And I was leading them through the pleasures of presence, and it got to that part where I kind of prompted, like, imagine as you are seeing things, they are also seeing you, and face the direction, wherever your heart feels pulled to be. And we look, and in this clearing, there was this. It was like a teenage moose, but just standing there, and she was facing like, and I was like facing towards some birds in this tree, and everybody had their own direction, but she was just straight on looking at this moose, and it was really special. She's like, what are the odds? So it's fun, because it's whatever you need is provided to you, and you're able to see that and interpret how you want and what you need in that moment. So that was a really special experience recently.
Oh, that is so
Yeah.
magical. And this like somewhat more concise, and we got a little bit off on our time, but that happens. Uh,
Yep.
I'd love for you to share part of forest therapy, but also part of my connection with nature too, that we always bond over, is like having a tea outside or a
Mhm.
coffee, enjoying these simple moments, but outside. And I know you have that set up with you right now. So if you wanted to share a little bit about that, and then you can lead us through an intention or like a workshop, something that we can do this weekend where we can reconnect with nature, and then we'll be able to follow up with on our next IGTV live, and we'll be able to share how that worked for us.
Yeah, absolutely. So I will show the tea setup here. I don't know if you can see this. There's some
Yeah.
lemon balm and sage. And so what I need right now is some digestion help and some fiber. So I have those two mixed in there. And then going along with our tea, I'll pour some here. Pour 2 cups as a symbolic share with everybody. But as I pour the tea, and before we drink it, I have a bag of scrolls, and so I pulled one out, and I would like people to take 10 minutes and whether you write this down or you record yourself saying it, just avoid bringing screens to a sit spot, and give yourself 10 minutes just to do nothing, just to be, and have this scroll in mind. So
And Madison, before you read that, will
yeah,
you explain a lot for someone what they should look for like?
yeah, absolutely. So a sit spot can be anywhere. So when I was back home in Iowa, it was in my parents' backyard by a tree, or for me, like recently, it's been just in the grass. I usually take my shoes off. It's been really nice to just walk barefoot in the grass in the morning, especially with the dew. So it can be anywhere you're called. It could be on your porch. It could be next to a house plant. It could be really anywhere that you sit with intention. Ideally, it would be outside, but I understand it's busy, and starting somewhere is important. So that's,
Awesome.
yeah, essentially a sit spot. And yeah, I appreciate you asking that. I'm glad that we could elaborate. But this scroll, it says, the thrush greeting the morning, the little bluebirds in their hot box, the salty talk of the wren, then the deep cup of the hour of silence. When did you admire? And that's an excerpt from Mary Oliver. So I would love for you all to just take 10 minutes to sit with that scroll and do nothing. And if you need to set a timer, so be it. But if you go over time, that's beautiful as well. And then take 10 minutes to reflect, whatever that means to you. So whether that's painting, writing, dancing, singing, whatever you feel called to do to feel that reflection in your body. And then take 10 minutes just to, make yourself some tea, make yourself some coffee, and sit without screens, and just be. And so I call it the 10-10-10 has been really helpful, especially to ease into this practice. And I'm excited to hear how everybody experiences it, and if they want to share their sit spot, or they'd like to share um, what tea they drank. I would love to hear it. So
Oh, that's so great. And also for those that didn't get a chance to write it down or catch that scroll, um, Madison, you are going to have that available on your page, right? For people to, that's their intention for the weekend. They can refer to your Instagram page for that, and then the rundown of the 10-10-10. For that way we can talk about it next Friday at the same time. We're going to be on here, and I can't wait to put that into practice, the 10-10-10. And I love that excerpt by Mary Oliver. That is beautiful. I'm excited to be able to talk about that as well and see how I feel I expressed it. I'm curious how that reflection will go.
yeah, absolutely. I'm really excited. So in the spirit of sharing some tea or coffee this morning, thank you so much for your time. It's been so lovely, and I do want to take some time to acknowledge the original keepers of our land, the stewards, present and future. And in the spirit of reciprocity, I'm going to, this is fun, pour out some tea for the land here. So that is my way of giving back this morning.
I love that acknowledgement and reciprocity with the tea pour. I think that's really special. I do love that. And I'm going to have my as well and finish up hopefully a productive rest of the morning. And I hope it is for everyone else too. Madison, thank you so much again. And I will have this on my page for people to refer to if you just got on and you weren't able to hear Madison's amazing conversation. She was in knowledge that she shared with us. You can always refer back. And then again, make sure you put in the Sierra Club of Iowa is giving us calendars to give away. And so if you're not following them or Madison or I, go ahead and give us a follow, comment on my last post of your favorite national park or favorite park that you've explored, and we'll be giving away calendars, which I know it's halfway through the year, but I have calendars in like my car and my office space, so you can never have too many, I think. And hopefully we didn't lose Madison. It looks like it's connecting. But thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you next Friday here to go over the conversation that we were able to have, but then also to follow up and offer some more insight and hear about how you are able to take that intention that Madison gave us and put it into practice. So thank you.